One of the suspects linked to the murder of woman in KwaZulu-Natal's Mthwalume has committed suicide. He and another suspect were expected to appear in court today. Police Minister eNCA says the two were arrested as persons of interest. The bodies of 5 women were discovered there over the past 4 months. eNCA says he's satisfied with the progress of investigations into the gruesome murders. Let's find out more now from Dasen Thathiah, who is on his way to Mthwalume on KwaZulu-Natal's south coast. Tell us what you heard about the suicide.
Well, Jane, that information coming through this morning, but obviously I had to try to get more from my other sources. I've also approached the police in KZN, the official channels. They haven't denied it, but they say that they refuse to comment on this matter. But from what we understand, and just having spoken to those that are close to the investigation, these 2 suspects were initially taken in for questioning. As eNCA announced on Saturday, they were then charged and they were expected to appear in court today. Yesterday, one of those suspects was also with police pointing out where some of those bodies may have been dumped. This morning, it was established that in fact, he had taken his own life while in police custody. Now, we'd have to at least approach the Independent Police Investigative Directorate to find out how that happened, because while he was in police custody, you would imagine that there were police officers watching him. So lots of questions, Jane, to be answered here.
Yes, and frustrating for those who want more answers about what happened, if they were indeed linked to this, and to see justice served. Remind us of the findings that the police made.
Well, up until this point, the police had all they really said about these suspects is that they were found in possession of stolen property, and that was really the link. eNCA wouldn't be drawn on exactly what that link was, which suspects they were, rather which murders they were linked to of the 5 that we know of. And all he had said was that we would find out the charges and any other details in court today. But I think the big question now that remains is whether this case will in fact proceed. As we know, there is still one other suspect that has to appear, but we are on our way to court now, and we will establish that as soon as we get there.
And what have we learnt about those women?
Well, all of these women, Jane, were from the area. They were within a few kilometers of each other, their homes at least. Their bodies were also dumped not far from where they live. They were between the ages of 16 and 38. We still don't have an identity for the 5th victim yet. But as for the other victims, they disappeared. For example, in the first case, the 2 girls had left home and their families had never seen them again. In one case, one of the victims had gone to collect a social grant. She was with her daughter. She disappeared, and her daughter had returned home to say that she wasn't sure where her mother was. So all of these families were also very disturbed by how these events had played out. But more than that, they were also fearful for their own safety, because it had taken this long before there was any movement in this case. You'll remember that the first of those 2 victims had disappeared in March, and their bodies were found in April.
It's a truly awful story. Dasen, let's leave it then. When you get more answers about what happened as far as the suicide is concerned, let's speak again.